Hi, this is a quick tutorial on how to make a bunch of objects revolve around an object in the center. So what I've done is I've set up a bunch of, I just created a bunch of objects on the timeline. As you can see, I've got a star shape in the middle, and then surrounding it I have a line, I have a square, I have a circle, and a polygon. So what I want to do is make these objects revolve around the center object. So here's what I do. I'm going to declare the center object as a null object. So the way that I do that, and a null object, by the way, is an object that doesn't really, well, it exists only for the sole purpose of being sort of like a leader so other objects can follow it. So what I'm going to do is go to Layer, New, Null Object, and you'll notice that it appears on the timeline. So what I want to do is I want to move the reference point to the middle of the null object. You can see it's really nothing. It doesn't really serve any other purpose than to sort of help things follow it. And we'll be working with null objects a lot this semester, so this will kind of give you an introduction to it. So what I've done is I've positioned it in the middle of the star because I want certain objects to revolve around the star. So what I'm going to do on the timeline now is add a rotation onto the null object. So I'm going to activate it. It's 0. I made this 5 seconds for no particular reason. And I'm going to bring it to the end of the timeline. And I'm going to rotate the null object. And you'll see that the null object is rotating, that I put it on the star, and it's rotating. I'm just going to rotate it a little bit. Okay. So now, if I play it back, nothing will happen. You don't really see anything happening, but in reality what's happening is if I scrub the timeline, you can see that the null object is revolving around. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make all of the layers, aside from the star layer, because I don't want that one to revolve around, I'm going to make those children, as they call it in After Effects, of the null layer. Now the way that I do that is I have to access the parent and link, what do they, I call these like headings. It's like a timeline heading, so it's the heading for a column, the parent and link. If you do not see this, of course you know that you can click around on the bottom to access these things. But the other way, if you still don't see it, even after selecting and deselecting all 3 of these icons on the bottom left of the timeline, is you can click on this row that has the headings on it, and I can right-click, control-click, and I can select from columns. And this particular column that I'm looking for is the one called Parent and Link. So you can see that I have it up. So now all I do is I'm going to take these layers that I want to revolve around the star and theoretically the null layer, and I'm going to make them the children of the null layer. I can do that either by clicking on this little spiral thing that looks kind of like a nautilus shell, and I can drag it onto this layer, and you'll, whoops, that didn't work. Why do things never work? Okay, oh, I chose the star layer, which I didn't want that to happen. I need to choose one of these swirly things and click it onto the null layer. And now you'll notice they all say null 3. I'm going to undo this. The second way I could have done that was just select all the layers that I wanted to revolve around and just go to the word none, expand it, and select null 3, which is the name of this null. So now when I do that, you'll see if I play back the timeline, they should evolve around the star. Not a beautiful piece, but at least it works.